So this is a very critical stage in the awakening process, because here you see the ox for the first time in the flesh. Up until this point, you've heard all sorts of stories, you've heard all sorts of metaphors and allegories, and you've seen all the pictures and all these people talking wonderful things about it, but here now you get a look at it. And this is what I would call your first mystical experience. It's almost like, a really good comparison is that it's almost like having your first orgasm. You discover this amazing new world. The world of sexuality opens up to you for the first time. And all of a sudden you realize, oh, so that's what all that sexual stuff was about that I didn't understand as a kid. Like, why were people interested in kissing and hugging, and why were men chasing women, and why were women chasing men, and all of this romance stuff that I saw. Oh, now it all makes sense. See, so this is what happens when you have your first mystical experience. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is like a whole new gateway opened up, a whole new world. Now I understand all the spiritual mumbo jumbo and all the hippies and all the people talking about oneness and this and God and divinity and all the religions. Oh, it wasn't just talk. See? It's actually something. The ox is a real thing. It's not just footprints. It's not just wishful thinking. And also what happens is that when you catch a glimpse of this ox, you realize, man, we're going to need a bigger boat. I'm going to need a bigger rope to catch this thing. This thing is way larger than I ever imagined. This thing is a fucking monster. It's a beast. This changes everything. This is nothing like what I imagined the ox was like. It's almost as though you were chasing this ox and you thought this ox was like a chihuahua-sized creature. And then you discover that this ox is actually a fucking dragon, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And you're going to have to catch this thing. And so that can be a little bit daunting. Usually what happens is that when you catch sight of the ox for the first time, it's so astonishing and so powerful, and it just hits you so out of the blue like a lightning bolt that it catches you completely unawares. And you're not able to hold on to it for more than a few seconds. It freaks you out. It scares you. It terrifies you. It's awesome. It's so awesome, it's terrifying. And then what happens is that you recoil and you quickly get back into your old ego self. And then you look around and like, where'd the ox go? Because you only caught a little glimpse of it. It's so magnificent you can't stand to look it in the eyes. It's so magnificent and radiant. You're going to have to develop yourself just to be able to look this thing in the eyes. Let's see what the Zen master has to say about this. Quote, "Still, you have not really caught the ox. You have just caught a glimpse from behind. You still have 7 more stages to go. To catch the ox and train it is no easy task, but first you must catch sight of it." End quote. So this is a very important stage, because once you do catch sight of it and it awes you and also terrifies you at the same time, now you can get really serious about this work, because now you know it's real, and now you're clamoring to get another look at it. It's almost like seeing a rare bird lost in the rainforest, and then you catch sight of this bird just kind of flitting through the leaves, and it's such a beautiful, magnificent bird. It's like, I want to see it again, but it took you years just to catch a glimpse of it the first time, deep in the jungle. Well, now you got to spend a few more years to catch another glimpse, and that can be quite frustrating. He goes on to say, quote, "One could not capture in a picture the beauty of its horns, their fine shape. To attempt to draw them would be to make 2 things where there was one." End quote. And this is the whole problem of communicating the incommunicable, communicating non-duality. How can you communicate the ox when the very communication itself is a part of the ox? All language is dualistic. All maps are never the territory. And here, we're interested in getting to the territory itself. The territory is the ox. And the map is this model that we're talking about, these 10 pictures, and all of the teachings and all of the scriptures and everything I've ever said in Actualized.org, that's the map. And the territory is the ox itself. He goes on to say, quote, Kensho, or awakening, achieved sitting on a zazen cushion is weak in action. Through contact with the outside world, you must also grasp the life that throbs there. The power that you have built up through samadhi is smashed to pieces by the sounds of the outside world. It is shattered by the sights of the outside world. End quote. So you see, this whole awakening process is going to be more than you bargained for. It's going to be more challenging than you initially thought. Initially, you thought that, hey, I would just get my enlightenment, bam, one day it would just happen, and then it would all be easy and downhill from there. I wouldn't need to do any more work. I would just be enlightened, and I'd get to walk around and tell people how enlightened I am, and I'd get to pride myself on how awesome I am and how spiritual I am. That's our initial newbie ideas of what awakening is like. And then we discover that, no. This whole thing is going to turn your life upside down. And if you really want to embody the ox, that's going to require a lot more than just catching a glimpse of it here and there. He goes on to say, quote, salt in running water is not visible to the eye. Similarly, the glue that is always mixed in the artist's paint is not visible to the eye. The eye sees only the colors blue or green or red. In exactly the same way, our Buddha nature has no shape or form. All is the ox. If you are looking but cannot see the ox, that just means your mind is full of unnecessary thinking, prejudice, false knowledge, and mistaken opinions.